online sharing session. We distributed a poll last few weeks, a few weeks ago, and we will discuss some of the hot spot, I would say, or the hot topics that we will be covering today. But before we go on, I would actually introduce ourselves as well. Maybe some of you have um, uh, not heard about LCI, have not known about LCI before. So Life Cycle Indonesia is established in 2015. So it's actually, we are almost 5 years now. In December will be 5 years. And it has been a pleasure for me, especially in my team. Indonesia, we have been developing and partnering with all of the people to introduce and promote life cycle assessment in Indonesia. This company, Life Cycle Indonesia, was established as a response to the increasing issue of sustainability. So I have approximately around almost 20 years now experience in sustainability, especially in life cycle assessment and life cycle engineering. So I did my master's and PhD in life cycle engineering, where we try to calculate the environmental impact of products and services. And then we try to improve our products and services through that identification of environmental impact. And at Life Cycle Indonesia, it's also established by together with my partner as well, David Adiwijaya, who has extensive experience in digitalization, analytical product design, customer behavior analysis, and business development, which combine our team is combined with these sets of expertise, also with the team. And it's interesting to have customer behavior analysis as well here, because when we look at environmental impact, we usually look at, okay, what is the hotspot? Why is this happening? And sometimes it is very much related to customer or people behavior. Maybe people forget to turn off the tap, or forgot to check the leakage, or those kind of things that we want to also change. Yeah. For example, behavior of people, recycling behavior, disposal behavior, that kind of things we can also see from life cycle assessment. So Life Cycle Indonesia is the global network partner for CIMAPRO. As Caspar already mentioned, there are around 25 partners around the globe, and we are in Southeast Asia. And our service is in consulting, training, and corporate reporting. Mainly in LCA, but also in sustainability reporting. And our consulting is based on research. So we always valued science-based fact to have decision making. This is our newest addition to our products, EasySR. So some of you who are familiar with sustainability reporting, we have launched a new platform, an online platform. It's the do-it-yourself DIY platform for easy for sustainability reporting. It's supposed to make your sustainability reporting easy. This is our vision and mission. We want to be an integrated solution to achieve sustainability towards a sustainable world through our products and services. And we are very happy to be part of the CIMAPRO network, because at CIMAPRO we found the people, friends that uphold the same ideals like what we uphold, that we want to work to preserve and restore the planet's resilience to sustainable practices and metrics. which is at the moment, especially during this pandemic, is very relevant because everywhere we are asked, how resilient are we? Can we be sustainable? So it's very relevant when we talk about COVID. Actually, when you look at the impact assessment modeling and so on, it's very relevant on the way it is modeled. So this is a little bit of our background. I'm a technical expert for the Ministry of Environment and Forestry for Sustainability and Lifecycle Assessment, also part of the ISO committee, the technical expert for LCA. I'm also the co-executive director for Indonesia Cleaner Production Center. So what the Cleaner Production Center do is actually trying to find ways how to be more efficient. So basically, if you look at it at the whole, we measure with life cycle assessment and we try to improve it with cleaner production, resource efficiency, and so on. And then we communicate it through sustainability reporting or eco-label. We're affiliated with the International EPD system, where EPD Southeast Asia, Eco-Label Type 3 is our sister company. And currently, we're also part of the UN pilot project for social life cycle assessment, and I'm also part of the advisory committee for that project. These are a list of our clients, varied background, industrial sectors, and hopefully we can serve you more. So the polling result. So through the polling results, we have asked what issues that often occur to you as CIMAPRO user. So the majority is, I don't know which impact assessment methods to use. Yeah. And then I'm confused which database I should use. And then there are many data set options. I am confused which data set I should select. So I'm going to run a quick poll asking you whether maybe Sarah or Gloria can help. Yeah. Poll. Oh, I can actually run it. I will launch a poll. Please, I will address 3 of these topics, but I will choose the ones that the people in here are interested to know more. So, okay. For Bapak Ibu, also I remind you, if you could please change your name in the participant name and then dash company or organization, so we can know who you are. Okay, 50%. People. Later, after this issues or topics that we address, if you still have more questions, we are also open to answer your question if time allows, if time permits. Okay. Okay. Anyone else is answering? Okay, I think I will end up still. Okay. If you I will close the poll in 30 seconds. So if you want to vote, please put in your vote. Okay, all right, so I will end the poll now. So I will share results. So if you see the poll results, most of you are asking, there are many data sets options. I'm confused which data set I should select. Okay, and then the next one will be which database, and then the last one that I will cover is the impact assessment method. Okay, so I will choose the data set, which is the third one. Before I'm going to stop share first and then go directly to the answer data set. So I would probably share this one. Okay. Hang on. So, Bapak Ibu, if I'm not mistaken, when you say about data set, I would think of that you are wondering, you have the cutoff, you have the APOS, you have the consequential system model. Let's say if you're using the EcoInvent, you have this different data sets. Is that your question? Maybe somebody who asked that question, who wants to know about that question, can also share your experience. Maybe you can raise your hand and we can you can unmute yourself as a representative from the floor. Anyone? Is this the one that you are asking? Hopefully ya, I will just explain ya, and then Bapak Ibu you can comment ya, Bapak Ibu ya. So in our database in SIMAPRO, there are a lot of database that you can you see. So if you selected your database, all database, that means everything is there. So sometimes it's very difficult for us. Okay, which one that I should do? Then the first thing that you have to choose is the processes reflected your process. That's the one, number one. Yeah, check with the documentation. Check with the documentation whether that process reflected your process. Yeah, if you have found the similar one to your process, then probably the next question will be like, you have all of this cutoff, APOS, and consec system model. Usually is there, yeah, in the EcoInvent. So you are probably wondering, what is this? What is the difference between these three? I will try to explain the three models. So the underlying here, a producer is fully responsible for the disposal of its waste, yeah, for the cutoff system. So that means he does not, or they do not receive any credit from the provision of any recyclable materials. So that means if you have, I think we have this, I'll just explain three of them and then we go into more detail. With the APOS, you have attributed proportionately to all of the process. So if it's from the cradle, then it will be attributional, proportionally to what you consume. That's the APOS. The cutoff, actually, if you are entering the second life, let's say you are using recycled material, then the previous life of that material would not be counted into the model. Yeah. And for the third one, consequential system model, is if you have chosen something, there's a consequence of system changes. So maybe I would do this in bahasa as well ya, Bapak Ibu ya. So, jadi dengan cut off, hidupnya si barang ini yang misalnya kita punya recycled product, dia tidak akan punya beban dari sebelum-sebelumnya. Dia punya zero gitu untuk previous life. Jadi kalau misalnya kita menggunakan scrap metal misalnya, scrap metal kita beli dari scrap recycler misalnya. Kita kan nggak tahu ya si scrap metal ini datangnya dari mana, udah habis dari gedung apa misalnya, atau bekas jadi panci atau bekas dari roof atau apa, kita nggak tahu. So pada saat dia masuk ke sistem kita cut off semua previous life-nya. Jadi dia punya zero burden. Nah pada saat kita menggunakan, jadi pada saat kita menggunakan recycled material, dia adalah zero burden. Tapi pada EPOS kita akan mengikutkan semua previous life-nya dia. Jadi beban-bebannya semuanya terikut. Di consequential model, jika kita menggunakan misalnya ya, kita menanam jagung untuk menghasilkan etanol. Nah, konsekuensinya apa? Kita menanam jagung untuk menghasilkan etanol tersebut. Lahan yang harusnya kita gunakan jagung untuk pakan ataupun makanan jadi berkurang, sehingga ada konsekuensi dari itu. Di consequential system model kita melihat berbagai konsekuensi itu, dan konsekuensinya kita include di dalam perhitungan. Let me go into the more detailed ya. Now the primary in here, an example here. So if we have a market of here we have waste glass recycled, the content is cut off, and we are on the market for waste glass. So we don't include the previous life is a cut off before. We just include the transport, the transportation. So the recyclable materials are available burden free, burden free. So it's all zero. So maybe if you want to compare it, if we have used the virgin material, that means the virgin material would have previous life from the cradle. The recycled material will not have any previous life burden. Now the next one, this is the example of the model. So wet spent grain, here we don't calculate all the brewing and everything before. We are just going to use this into spent grain, for example, for other things. Similarly with the recycled aluminum, we have the disposed can, the previous life is not calculated. However, if we use that recycled material, the recycled processes, this one in here is also considered when we, the producer will be responsible for the end of life, the process, for the end of life, because it's producer's responsibility. That's in the cut-off system model. So you don't get benefit from the waste treatment, I would say. Now with the EPOS system model, you included everything. So that means if you have the waste treatment, and for example in the waste treatment we have the previous activities, it will be included in the EPOS, in the attributional. In here, an example, craft paper and bicycle production produce waste that will be incinerated. The byproduct of the incineration is heat. Then all the activities producing the same byproduct, heat from the same treatment, are aggregated and allocated into a single data set. So in the APOS system, the heat, if we when we calculate the waste treatment and it is producing heat, and we avoided the generation of heat, that generation of heat becomes our avoided product. ya. And we will use, for example, if we want to use that heat from other, it will carry on the positive contribution, we would say, in the APOS. Yeah. Next, in here, so everything is calculated. Yeah. Prorate. Yeah. This is difficult in the practice. Yeah. When we, let's say we want to model waste management, yeah, because we don't know what happened to the past. Let's say we have I would speak in bahasa, misalnya kita punya waste management untuk sampah. Kita apakah kemudian produksi buah-buahan atau sayur-sayurannya di-include Bu di APOS? Yes, di-include gitu. Makanya jadi ribet banget gitu ya. Jadi ribet, tapi kalau di cut off dia tidak. Dia hanya pada saat dia menjadi waste, kemudian kita gunakan misalnya mau dijadikan kompos misalnya, itu previous life-nya tidak di-include. Tapi kalau di APOS di-include semua. Ya, ini consequential. Ya, di sini consequential production electricity, geothermal and others. Now the market of electricity, then the production of different source of energy will be affected and it will be reflected in the consequential system model. Mudah-mudahan that can be clear. Hang on. Kira-kira ada yang mau menanggapi dulu nggak, Bapak Ibu? Oke, mungkin saya jawab dulu pertanyaan ini ya dari Pak Koiruman sepertinya nih ya. Mohon izin pertama, jika bahan baku yang kita dapat dari supplier tidak ada kajian dampaknya, apakah boleh kita masukkan cut off atau pakai database produksi jenis atau dari supplier lain sudah ada kajian dampaknya? Terima kasih sebelumnya. Semuanya boleh, Pak, kalau misalnya tidak ada dari supplier. Ya, kalau kita menggunakan database, bisa saja kita masukkan pakai dataset yang cut off. Namun atau kalau misalnya ada database produksi jenis ini semua boleh, atau supplier lain juga boleh, atau sumbernya. Nah, yang mesti diperhatikan seperti ini Bapak Ibu. Kalau kita sudah menggunakan cut off di salah satu dataset, semua dataset yang kita gunakan harus semuanya seragam cut off juga, supaya tidak ada double counting. Karena kalau misalnya Bapak Ibu menggunakan APOS, kemudian Bapak Ibu menggunakan cut off, nah ada kemungkinan ada double counting dari positif positif impact-nya. Misalnya pada saat di waste treatment pakai APOS, kemudian kita dapat benefit avoided product gitu. Tapi kemudian pada saat kita pakai cut off, kita dapat benefit lagi, zero burden gitu ya. Jadi nanti akan double counting gitu. Makanya kita mesti usahakan agar semua dataset yang kita gunakan itu seragam, similar. Kalau cut off, kalau APOS dan lain-lainnya, seperti itu. Oke. Kalau misalnya ada tanggapan silakan ditaruh di chat. Saya akan lanjutkan untuk yang sesudahnya, yaitu database ya, database. Nah, untuk database serupa juga dengan dataset ya, sebaiknya ya menggunakan hanya satu jenis database. Misalnya Bapak Ibu menggunakan AgriFootprint atau Bapak Ibu menggunakan EcoInvent, menggunakan satu. Nah, jika tidak ada gitu ya database yang dataset yang kita cari nggak ada di database tersebut, boleh nggak? Oh boleh deh, kita kepepet gitu kan ya, nggak punya data tempat lain ya. Similar dengan pertanyaan dari Pak Koiruman, jadi kita bisa modifikasi ya. Jadi rule pertama adalah pakai database yang sama ya. pada saat pakai database yang sama ada, kita pakai database yang sama. Kalau nggak ada, kita boleh pakai database yang berbeda. Gitu. Kemudian kita identify database tersebut bahwa ini adalah database yang berbeda. Jadi pada saat kita melakukan sensitivity analysis, kita tahu oh ini potensi menjadi sesuatu yang sensitif nih, karena ini akan mengubah model kita misalnya. Terus yang ketiga adalah pada saat kita pilih data set tersebut, misalnya ada database-nya adalah database Eropa gitu ya. Nah, terus kita kan operasi di Indonesia. Jadi apa yang harus kita lakukan? Kita bisa mengubah ya, kita bisa modify data tersebut. Caranya gimana? Kita copy data tersebut, kemudian kita modify. Apa saja yang bisa dimodify? Misalnya listriknya mungkin dimodify karena listriknya di Eropa berbeda dengan listrik di Indonesia. So we can modify the dataset through copy and modify. Ya, modify to reflect the current condition in Indonesia, for example. If you're modeling in Indonesia, if you're modeling in outside, you can modify depending on where you are. So let's say you are looking for a supplier and your supplier is from Europe, then you can use the European data, yeah, rest of Europe or Swiss data, things like that. For the data set, I will add one more about the data set. It is number one, if you have data from Indonesia, you use data from Indonesia or the data from the country that you are modeling for. If you don't have, then you use the global data set. Yeah, global meaning average global. If you don't have, if there is no global data set, you use RER, rest of Europe data set. Yeah, why is it RER? Because in EcoInvent, their data is based on Swiss data set. So rest of Europe meaning data outside Swiss. Yeah, so that is the four, I would say, stairs, yeah, priority that you can address in using the data set and the database. Yeah, again, if you don't have specific data from your supplier, please put it as a sensitive, as a note for hotspot. If that data is considered a hotspot, you might want to do sensitivity analysis on that data. Okay. Next question. Oke, this one. Kamu baru tahu tentang Simapro dan kelihatannya menarik sekali dari Babukar JC. I don't know that you can speak bahasa, Mr. Babukar. Bagaimana cara mendapatkannya dan apakah Simapro ini gratis untuk pemula? Untuk pemula ada demo version, tapi if you are in non-OECD country such as in Indonesia, for students or for the educational purposes, there is a free faculty license only for non-OECD country, and we require a signature from the department, yeah, or from a listed or registered lecturer. Okay, there's another question from Bu Rati Permatasari. Bu Jessica, bagaimana jika proses bahan bakunya itu limbah cair industri untuk inputnya? Apakah setiap komponen senyawanya dan juga kuantitasnya diukur? Yes, if the raw material adalah limbah cair bahan baku industri kita, nah ini kalau kita mau melihat apakah improvementnya bisa digunakan untuk proses lain, ada material di situ, ada baiknya untuk kita mengetahui komponen senyawanya apa, kuantitasnya apa. Namun seringkali ini sulit ya Bu Ratih ya. Jadi bisa saja kita modelkan ini sebagai fluida misalnya gitu. Nah, mungkin pada saat proses-proses selanjutnya limbah cair ini akan dijadikan sesuatu lah gitu ya, misalnya mau dipisahkan atau diolah menjadi apa, disaring atau whatever it is gitu ya. Nah, bisa saja kita identify di model selanjutnya ini akan menjadi apa, pisahnya menjadi apa gitu. Jadi bisa saja kita anggap limbah cairnya, of course dia tidak punya beban di belakang kalau dia cut off, karena kita juga nggak tahu dia apa saja. Kita cut off bisa, kemudian kita identify dia sebagai limbah cair yang kemudian kita olah lagi gitu. Paling minimum adalah kalau nggak tahu komponen senyawanya adalah kuantitasnya. Tentunya itu harus tahu berapa sih volumenya gitu misalnya. Atau volume dan density-nya ya, karena biasanya kita akan lebih baik memodelkan bukan lebih baik sih, ya mungkin lebih baik lah ya, dimodelkan dalam bentuk massa. Jadi densitas dan volume supaya sehingga tahu benar-benar berapa sih density dari si fluid ini. Dari Pak Koiruman menarik, ternyata bisa modify dataset dari database. Yes, bisa Pak. Jadi bisa dicek. Misalnya kita punya, ini kita punya prosesnya mirip nih, tapi kita nggak pakai nih proses A, B, C, D, E misalnya. Nah, kita bisa delete misalnya, atau kita bisa ubah. Atau kita bisa ubah kuantitasnya misalnya, tapi kita sudah punya modelnya. Kemudian ada pertanyaan lagi, apa beda tools LCA, Simapro, dan Excel? Mungkin yang paling basic adalah Simapro itu merupakan suatu database juga ya Bapak Ibu ya. Selain it's a calculation tool, it is also a database for the inventory and also database for the methods. Nah, jika kita tidak menggunakan Simapro, kita akan punya berbagai lembar-lembaran Excel untuk menghitung gitu. Jadi mesti mapping semuanya kan ya satu-satu gitu. Dengan adanya Simapro kita allow to be ya lebih sederhana. At least kita tidak usah lagi memetakan sendiri, menghitung secara manual itu. Ibaratnya mungkin kalau Simapro itu kalau Bapak Ibu familiar dengan statistik ya, mungkin Minitab misalnya gitu ya Bapak Ibu ya. Excel bisa nggak? Bisa gitu, tapi lebih lama. Jadi kita pakai SPSS atau Minitab atau yang lain-lainnya seperti itu. Itu mungkin perbedaannya. Kemudian, dari Pak Koruman, biar nggak mispersepsi, mau dijelaskan perbedaan dataset dan database. Oke, database adalah kumpulannya Pak. Kalau dataset satu-satuannya. Jadi bahkan di dalam satu database kita punya pilihan dataset, data-data apa nih yang kita gunakan. Jadi kalau misalnya boleh, maybe Gloria, can you share Simapro screen? We can identify where is the database and where is the dataset. Sementara menunggu Gloria, saya lanjut dulu. Tadi si spreadsheet maksudnya dengan Simapro ya sudah terjawab ya Mbak Bu Ramasayu. Kemudian pertanyaan lain dari Pak Agusta Putra dari University of Tsukuba. Thank you very much for your nice explanation. According to your experience, what is the best system model to show the benefits from waste utilization? Now, this is a difficult question, Pak Agusta, karena the best system, it really depends, Pak, to show benefit. Ini Pak Agusta ya layarnya muncul ya Pak. It really, boleh Pak kalau mau menanggapi juga silakan Pak, bisa di-unmute. Karena sometimes tergantung, depends on what is your goal and scope. Yeah, if your goal is, it's difficult for us to measure what has been done in the past. Like say, for example, in waste utilization, I would say like food waste, for example. Yeah, we don't know where this food coming from. you know. So it's very difficult. I would not say best system model, but I would say like in the practicality, it would be difficult to model it. So I would use the cutoff model to model it, to model the waste utilization. But if you want to look at into the future, yeah, I would choose consequential method, because you then can have, okay, if I choose this, what will happen to the others, what would change. Let's say if you are turning this waste utilization, let's say, to be feed for the feedstock, yeah, for the animals, let's say animal feed, maybe that would change the universe for the animal feed, yeah. Change the system, maybe slightly, not so much, yeah, but maybe in a different scheme of things. Let's say if you're sorry, if you are using let's say electrical vehicle, let's say nowadays in Indonesia, we have there's a lot of discussion on that. Electric vehicles, what would happen, what would change in the electric vehicles universe? Would our energy source is still coal major, what would happen? Is that going to change? Maybe it will, yeah. Then it is important for us to really know with the consequential what would happen if, like that. Okay, ada tanggapan mungkin Pak Agusta? You have any? No, thank you. Gloria is sharing. Okay, so database library, if you go to the library, yeah, we have many database here at the moment. Gloria is selecting all of the database. As I mentioned before, it's preferred if we choose one, if we can stay with one database. But sometimes, yeah, sometimes it is a problem as well. We cannot find the right data set that we want. The data set is not there. So that's why we open for other database available. When we only have, when we look at the processes, let's say a process Glo, and then we will see the projects here, EcoInvent. That means that's the EcoInvent database that we are using. But maybe for others, we can also see maybe with the agricultural, yeah, Glo. We have many agri footprint there. There, the database is agri footprint. The good thing about CIMAPRO is we are open to these different types of libraries. So in case if we only, let's say we are not open to this many libraries, we only have EcoInvent dataset, and turn out the dataset that we need is actually in agri footprint, then we cannot continue, we don't have the data basically. So the dataset is this one, compound fit laying, compound, different sets of data, yeah. And Glo, let's use just one library. Let's say we use the EcoInvent library, only the EcoInvent library. And with the EcoInvent library, we can see in the process different sites, different types of data, different types of data. Hang on, it was just refreshing the database. Let's say maybe the, like, here. Oh, there one. Yes, you can see we have the cut off with grain, cut off U, cut off S, consec U, consec S. Yeah, you have different sets. So maybe I would add a little bit on the U and S. U is when you have all the unit processes explained here. Yeah, different side. But with the S, it is we cannot see what happened before. It's just a compilation. So if you want to transport or share your data to other party, let's say, you can use the S system data. Okay, I hope that will be clear. Pak Koiruman, is that all right, Pak? Okay. Then for Bunga Cahaya Putri, selamat sore. Saya pernah view salah satu dataset dan isinya input from the nature, jadi terkadang bingung bagian mana yang bisa diedit. Contoh produk tahu isinya input hanya berasal dari nature, jadi saya nggak tahu input energi dan material lainnya. Apakah semua data tersebut bisa dimodify? Oke. Nah, we need to kita perlu define dulu, Bu. Nature itu benar-benar dari nature ya. Misalnya tadi produk tahu ya. Tahu itu inputnya adalah kedelai. Nah, kedelainya itu kan ditanam oleh orang ya. Dia harus dimodelkan. Jadi cradle-nya si kedelai ini, proses pemupukannya, proses pengalihan lahannya, pengairan, penggunaan energi, harvesting dan lain-lain itu sebenarnya harus di-include di dalam input produk, misalnya tahu kedelai tadi gitu. Karena kebun kedelai itu kedelai bukan ya. Kebun kedelai itu enggak tumbuh sendiri. Jadi nature itu yang benar-benar nature. For example, water is nature. Atau kita ngambil dari hutan, madu hutan, that is nature. Tapi kalau misalnya atau misalnya bahan tambang ya, kita mengambil dari tambang, oil misalnya, itu adalah nature. Sebelum kita apa-apain ya, pada saat kita nambang, kita ambil. Atau misalnya coal, kita gali, proses penggalian kita masukkan ke dalam per calculation kita. Kemudian si coal-nya ini adalah nature gitu. Jadi agak kalau misalnya kedelai ditanam di kebun, kemudian dirawat oleh orang, itu bukan nature, itu masuknya adalah teknosfer. Jadi itu mesti dalam input from teknosfer, bukan input from nature. Namun kalau misalnya tidak tahu, biasanya kami modelkan sebagai black box gitu. Black box atau di dalamnya ada gunakan database. Gitu. Jadi bisa gunakan database. Mungkin approximation yang paling baik adalah menggunakan database yang sudah ada, dataset jadinya. Menggunakan dataset. Oke. Kemudian, Pak Koirman, terima kasih dari dosemen ya. Pak Hendrik dari IPB, jika bahan bakunya biji logam seperti bauksit untuk memurnikan logam seperti alumina dan terdapat beberapa metode untuk memurnikan biji logam tersebut, mau melihat metode terbaik dari model LCA ini. Metodenya maksudnya teknologi untuk pemurnian biji logamnya kan ya Pak Hendrik ya misalnya ya. Nah itu mesti dimodelkan Pak. Nah di dataset di Simapro mungkin ada beberapa teknik ya, smelting atau apa ya, itu mungkin ada. Nah, tapi kalau misalnya proses pemurnian biji logamnya dilakukan di proses di operasionalnya Bapak, di unit operasinya Bapak, nah itu harus dimodelkan. Ya, jadi kita tidak hanya mengambil dari dataset, tapi kita juga memodelkan. Jadi di tutorial Simapro kita bisa create new. Pada saat kita create new itu kita buat ini loh new proses yang sesuai dengan proses kita. Misalnya kita mau untuk proses memurnikan biji logam dikasih bahan chemical tertentu, berapa chemicalnya. Kemudian dipanaskan misalnya, dipanaskan energi untuk pemanasannya yang diambil dari proses Bapak misalnya apa saja. Nah itu Bapak masukkan input data-datanya, limbahnya berapa banyak, inputnya apa saja, itu dimodelkan di dalam LCA. Nah setelah kita memodelkan LCA model tersebut yang tadi Kaspar di dalam slide-nya disebut dilakukan oleh LCA expert misalnya, atau dibantu oleh si expert, kemudian kita akan menghitung environmental impact-nya seperti apa. Nah, ada berbagai macam environmental impact yang mungkin terjadi di pengolahan atau pemrosesan logam. Bisa saja dia menyebabkan ekotoxicity, eutrofikasi, hujan asam misalnya, dan lain-lain. Nah, ini yang kita bisa cek dengan studi-studi sejenis atau dari produk kategori rules atau lain-lainnya gitu Pak. Seperti itu kira-kira menjawabkah Bapak, Pak Hendrik dari IPB? For further, waktunya kita udah hampir habis jam 5. Mungkin saya mau kasih, saya lanjutkan, saya tutup sesi ininya, tanya jawabnya sementara. Saya mau kasih tips and tricks Bapak Ibu. Jadi kami ada tips and tricks, ada videonya. Ya. Tips and tricks, jadi berdasarkan polling kami ada 3 tips and tricks yang banyak mau tahu ya, using parameter misalnya, atau make system process, atau parameter for calculation. Mungkin bisa di-share oleh Gloria atau Sarah ya videonya?
Gloria, Bu.
Oke, Gloria, makasih. Oke, short video ya, tapi Bapak Ibu bisa mendapatkan video-video tips and tricks juga di YouTube channel of Pre Sustainability. Silakan Glo, mungkin di-share. Saya kan Bapak Ibu punya banyak pertanyaan-pertanyaan juga. Mungkin kita nanti bisa lakukan sesi. Nah, oke, kita lihat short video 4 menit. Suaranya belum kayaknya, Glo. Kayaknya mesti itu, Glo. Mesti optimize for screen sharing ya, movie ya.
Using parameters in your model gives you the flexibility to easily change values or assumptions in your model. So instead of creating different models, you can create one model that you can vary with the help of parameter sets or scenarios. This comes in very handy when, for example, you want to analyze variations of a product or for monitoring performance. Scenarios are usually added manually in a calculation setup. However, in this video, we will show you how to import scenarios previously defined in an Excel spreadsheet. This makes it much easier and faster to add and edit as many scenarios as you want. To use the Import Scenarios feature, you need 2 things: a parameterized model in CIMAPRO, and an Excel sheet which includes a list of the parameters you want to import and their possible values per scenario. So let's assume I created a model about the life cycle of detergents, and I want to analyze different scenarios, altering a number of parameters such as dosage, amount of water used, electricity, and so forth. Go to the life cycle and click on any of the analysis buttons to arrive at the calculation setup window. Enter a name for the setup and then go to the tab Parameter Sets. Click the ellipsis button and then Browse to select the desired Excel file. You will see that the content of your spreadsheet is loaded in the window. Now select the top left cell, what we call the reference cell, of the range where you have defined your scenarios. The column below the selected cell should contain all parameter names, and the row to the right of the selected cell should contain the scenario names. Click Select. While importing, CIMAPRO will check whether the names in the left column, the parameter names, are used as parameters in the current CIMAPRO model. Any mismatches can be viewed by clicking View Import Log. Once the data has been loaded, you will get an overview of the imported scenarios. And for each parameter, you can see where it has been defined in your model and the values for various scenarios, as imported from your spreadsheet. Finally, click Calculate to arrive at a comparative analysis of the different scenarios. Now let's go back to the calculation setup and see what happens if you want to make changes to the scenarios. It is important to note that the data in the worksheet is leading, so you cannot edit the imported data from within CIMAPRO. The area will be grayed out. If you want to change parameter values or add more scenarios, for example, you must do that in the spreadsheet. Once you make the changes, click Refresh or F5 to refresh the values imported in CIMAPRO. It is also important to note that the imported data will not be saved in the database. Only the link to the worksheet data will be saved. However, if you would still like to save the imported data in the CIMAPRO database, you can clear the link using the X button. And that way, the data will be treated as internal CIMAPRO data, and you will be able to edit them as usual and save them to the database.
Oke, terima kasih Glo. Saya akan share my screen again. Untuk more tips and tricks dari pre-sustainability ada a lot of tips and tricks, and also in the channel ya, YouTube channel for pre-sustainability. For the video of this sharing session, it will be available in YouTube channel of Lifecycle Indonesia. Kemudian ada juga di Lifecycle Indonesia website ada juga tips and tricks di dalam bahasa. Hari ini saya sudah siapkan beberapa video, tapi kita Bapak Ibu bisa browse sendiri. Jadi saat ini ada tips gimana membuat sistem level proses dari unit level proses, sehingga pada saat Bapak Ibu mau mengirim data ke klien atau ke different supply chain, Bapak Ibu bisa berasa safe bahwa informasinya sudah tidak detail seperti di unit level, tapi sudah berupa system level. Nah, jika Bapak Ibu, if you want to know more tentang bagaimana kita bisa memodelkan LCA with CIMAPRO, we actually have a session, a training session, online training session, and even though it's online, it's very interactive. Nanti pada tanggal 7 sampai 10 Desember, siang hari kami adakannya jam 1 sampai jam 5, siang sampai sore hari, sehingga Bapak Ibu kalau masih mau melakukan pekerjaannya di pagi hari masih sempat, kemudian sore hari kita lakukan training gitu ya. Trainingnya 4 days, only practical LCA with CIMAPRO. Jadi objektifnya adalah Bapak Ibu bisa modeling different types of processes dengan CIMAPRO ya, LCA processes. Bisa dicek juga di lifecycleindonesia.com/training. And also there's an upcoming webinar dari Long Trail Sustainability hari Selasa minggu depan, tanggal 8 ya, tentang CIMAPRO Data Management Basic and Best Practice. Ini jam 9 malam. Diadakan in collaboration between our network partner, CIMAPRO network partner in the US from Long Trail Sustainability. So if you are into CIMAPRO data management, you can join in. And if you are interested, Bapak Ibu ada yang interested to do LCA study or collaborate in doing LCA study for your company or research, or for a client, for example, don't hesitate, jangan ragu-ragu, contact us. We are open for LCA project consultation, in-house training, customer support, and of course, CIMAPRO software. Ya, terima kasih Bapak Ibu. Mohon maaf sebelumnya jika ada kekurangan, waktunya sudah lewat. Saya harap Bapak Ibu from this online sharing session, it can be useful, berguna towards sustainable Indonesia. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu.